So this is part 2 of my Rolling Stone story. So as time went by, they invited all the people who had tickets to come across the street. We were allowed to cross the street. I think the name of the street was Green Street. And I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, we were invited on to the other side of the street. And, to show our tickets and show our licenses. We were able to get in on my husband's license because somehow it was corresponded. Or maybe they just pretended that so people wouldn't sell the tickets. I'd be interested to know if anyone even actually bought a ticket, which was prohibited. But I wonder if they really had a way. I can't remember. Of course, that was in 1981. But anyway, so we got into the pub and what they did was, it's a small pub. It had a bar and it had a little tiny dance floor. So what they did was they cordoned off the dance floor to kind of give a little bit of a cushion between the people inside the pub and the band, because there was there was nothing to separate the stage from the dance floor and the people. So that's how they started out, with this cordoned off area and people standing around, basically, not in the dance floor. And somewhere along the line, a gentleman came up, and actually, I think I was the first one he spoke to. He said, "Look, we want to get some women up front close to the stage. The band wants some women up there." So a few of us girls just walked over, and then everybody kind of moved up behind us. And my husband was behind me. But, yeah. So we were like, and they came out and they started playing, and it was like magical. It really was, to look at these people so close, and such talented people, and, and to be making eye contact with them, like when Mick forgot like a couple like words, and then have Bill Wyman just kind of like wink at you, and just, it was unbelievable. Okay. It was unbelievable. And so they were rehearsing pretty much for their upcoming tour, which was, the whole concept was for them to get out in public and play, and it was great. So somewhere along the line, and it was an old song. I should have probably looked at the set list, but it was an old song. And at that point, Mick Jagger just took my hand. He wove each of his fingers in between each of these fingers and clasped my hand. It wasn't just holding my hand. He put his fingers in between my fingers, looked me in the eyes while he was singing. It was the most magical moment of my life. And unfortunately, when that happened, a lot of people started pushing towards the front. And I would imagine that other women in the back or anybody would rather try to make their way towards the front to have contact with one of the Stones. It just kind of, everyone started pushing. And, like I said, it was I was newly pregnant, and my husband at the time was concerned, because people were pushing, and as they pushed my legs into the stage. So the stage only came right somewhere in my thighs, and I had bruises on both of my thighs. Yeah. I had a hand that I didn't want to wash, and I had bruises on my thighs from being pushed into the stage. So at that point, my husband said, "Nah, let's go back." And he took me and led me to the back of the crowd, because he was concerned that something might happen, and I was pregnant for our second child. So I don't blame him. But yeah, so that was the end of my little moment with Mick Jagger that has lasted a lifetime and will last a lifetime. But it was unbelievable. An unbelievable moment. And when Rolling Stone magazine came out, there you can see me right in the front. The only photographers allowed in there were Rolling Stone, I think a Rolling Stone photographer. I mean, they had a really tight lid on anybody, you know, coming in, and it was really controlled. So when the magazine came out and I heard that there was a story about the concert in Worcester, you know, the secret concert, it was amazing. And there you can see me in the front. I had my little punk haircut and looking up and clapping for Mick Jagger. Yeah, it was a special time. It was a special moment in history.